I Think I Am, series created by Dan Decker. Apotemnophilia, teleplay by Dan Decker, based on a short story by Connie, Corcoran, Wilson. Fade in, interior poolside day. The Dan Decker character sits by his pool in a bathrobe doing the Sunday crossword.
It's a 13-letter word that means body integrity identity disorder. I know this one. Apotemnophilia. It's a mental disorder that sufferers of which have a compelling obsession to cut off one or more of their own limbs. It kind of gets me to wondering, where would I go to get my limbs removed?
Interior, George's house, night. Words type into a search engine box on his computer screen. Body sculpting. Up pops the search results. George's eyes scan them over. He clicks on one, Garcia Cosmetic Surgery and Body Sculpting Clinic. Exterior, Garcia Cosmetic Surgery Clinic, day. Insert sign, Cosmetic Surgery and Body Sculpting, lap cut. Interior, Cosmetic Surgery Office, day. George Shue, 32, boyish and charming, faces off across from Dr. Garcia, 50s, the head of the clinic.
I said both legs, below the knee.
I didn't say what. I said
What? I don't see why you have a problem with that.
because I took an oath to do no harm. I can't remove perfectly healthy tissue.
No, I don't accept that.
It's true.
And I know for a fact it's not true.
Dr. Garcia scans his desktop.
Look, George.
If I wanted the fat in my belly sucked out because it offends me, you'd be prepping me for surgery right now. And those are perfectly healthy fat cells.
No, George.
If I wanted a facelift to get rid of wrinkly skin because I don't like how it looks, you'd cut the skin off even though it's perfectly healthy tissue.
No.
If I wanted my nose fixed, my chin reduced, my lips pumped up, teeth pulled, all of it is perfectly healthy tissue.
It's not going to happen.
George is on his feet.
If I wanted a gender reassignment, you'd lop off a perfectly healthy pound of flesh and then take a bow for doing it.
You made your point.
My point is, you're a hypocrite.
George tips over the nameplate on the desk.
Mr. Shue, sit down, please.
This is what I want. Why can't I have what I want?
Mr. Shue, you have a condition. You need to be at least aware of it before you act on it.
Please.
I want you to do something before we talk about this again. I want you to visit Dr. Boris.
George folds his arms.
Specialist, no doubt.
He actually has a group therapy session for people who suffer from your condition.
Do I look like I'm...
The condition is called body integrity disorder.
You get a kickback?
Promise me you'll go see him. I'll have Wendy set an appointment for you. Tell me you'll go.
No.
Say you'll go.
No.
If I was going to do a gender reassignment on you, you'd have to go see this guy first.
George hesitates.
Got you there, Holmes.
Interior, Dr. Bora's waiting room, day. George and Paul Nelson, 50s, a committed apotemnophiliac, are the only ones in the waiting room.
You here for the Wednesday session?
Yeah, I guess so.
Me too.
Takes a second, but George gets what that means. Looks at Paul.
Yeah, me too.
You too. Cool.
A big hand thrusts towards George.
Paul Nelson, always good to meet a fellow seeker of truth.
Nietzsche says truth is an illusion we forgot was an illusion.
Nietzsche? Really? Like Blazing Saddles?
George purses his lips.
Hey, no, I like that. It's not true, but I like it.
Receptionist pops her head through the door.
The doctor will see you now.
Oh, he will he?
The rest of the group is already inside. Right this way.
Receptionist turns to lead the way back. George follows, but Paul holds out his arm to block him. The nurse disappears ahead of them.
Let's blow this popsicle stand.
Oh, no, I can't. I have to be with this doctor.
You and I can have our own session. Except, I'll give it to you straight.
George stands still.
He's only going to try to talk you out of it anyway. We know that already.
But the other guy...
This therapy session is a waste of time. Come on, let's go.
Paul exits with confidence that George will follow. He does not look back. After a beat, George turns and follows Paul out the door. Interior, Mexican restaurant, night. Definitely low rent. 6 people sit at a table around the place, among them Paul and George. The dark-haired waitress in a peasant outfit serves the beans and rice.
They're called pretenders. They just fake it. Walk around on crutches, use wheelchairs, but they have a full body.
Why would they do that?
Maybe just to get chicks, who knows?
Waitress lays down some food.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Yeah, they're called devotees.
The chicks?
Yeah, devotees. Some women are sexually attracted to amputees, go figure.
Damn.
And there's you and me. We are called wannabes. We are between this and getting it done.
George grabs a tortilla.
Yeah, baby.
We are the real thing.
George eats, nods.
I know a guy who will do it.
George stops chewing.
He does it in Mexico. And he's an American doctor. Up and up.
Jeez, Paul.
40 grand a pop.
40 grand?
Per each. That's a fair price, considering.
Paul allows this to sink in on George.
Yeah, I guess it is.
The other guy you were talking to would probably charge more.
Yeah, he's expensive.
I'm gonna do both legs, the hips. Adios.
Damn.
Paul picks up his knife and fork.
You wanna come along and get yours done too?
George squirms a bit in his seat.
I'm going with or without you.
Can we get a group discount?
It's cash and carry only.
They smile, the smile of conspirators, and clink their margaritas. Interior, George's house, night. Bathrobe, computer. George is surfing the maps on Google Earth. Mexico. Next, he flips to airlines, schedules, handicapped accessibility, wheelchair. Off George's face, his eyes flickering across the screen. Exterior, warehouse in Mexico, day. The sun bleaches out the world. The sad old warehouse building is nothing but sad and old, a relic of another time. Interior, warehouse in Mexico, reception area, day. The place is just a warehouse, nothing special. It is sectioned off with just some pipe and drape which form out the reception area, and behind them, unseen, the operating room and recovery beyond that. George and Paul are in the front section with the receptionist/prep nurse, Araceli, 20s. Araceli does not make eye contact with them. She files their large stacks of cash away in a metal box.
Miss?
The doctor will be ready for you shortly. We need to get you prepped.
Don't you wanna see our insurance cards, huh?
That won't be necessary.
She avoids looking at them. George tries to get her attention.
Miss, is something wrong?
No, not at all. Did you take all the meds and follow all the pre-op instructions?
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Corcoran, 50s, comes out from his operating area behind some pipe and drape.
Araceli, did you check me in for my flight back?
Yes, doctor.
Dr. Corcoran turns his attention to the two men standing there.
Who are you?
I'm Paul, he's George.
Oh, my leg jobs. Araceli, why aren't they prepped yet? For Christ's sake! Come with me.
Dr. Corcoran walks away, back behind the pipe and drape.
Come on, George, we're up.
George holds the eyes of Araceli. She stares back, then blinks. George stops Paul.
I'm getting a bad vibe.
Just nerves. Come on, let's get it done.
Interior warehouse in Mexico, operating room, day. There are some tables arrayed, probably purchased at Walmart, with IV racks and lamps next to them. Anesthesia is on hand, with some saline, etc., but no other people. It seems the doctor is a one-man operating band. George and Paul enter a few steps behind Dr. Corcoran. Paul is comfortable and eager. George has misgivings about this setup.
Paul,
Yeah,
I don't know about this.
come on, let's get...
Gentlemen, if you would disrobe and lie on these tables.
Paul does so, but George stalls.
Paul, I'm George. George, did you have any questions before we started? This is all just routine. It's quite a simple procedure. Old technology, in fact.
George is still not going for it.
Please, lay down. We don't have all day now, do we? Araceli!
Araceli comes through the drapes. She carries some supplies. George goes over to Paul, who is lying under a sheet.
Paul, listen to me.
Get with him, man.
I'm not sure about this.
It's just nerves, come on. We came all this way.
It's not just nerves.
Listen, Paul.
I'm done listening to everyone. If you're chicken, just leave.
No, I got a bad feeling about this setup, man.
You're just a pretender. I misjudged you. Get out.
Paul.
I never want to see you again.
George leaves the operating area. Araceli follows him. Interior, warehouse in Mexico, reception area, day. Araceli hands George his cash back. She gives him a meaningful look.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. It's entirely your choice. I respect that.
Araceli!
Gotta go. Have a safe trip back.
Thank you.
She turns to go back into the operating area.
I'm not really...
George, you're a good guy.
Interior, George's house, night. Alone in a bathrobe, George surfs the web on his computer. He is reading over websites dedicated to apotemnophilia again. He runs across an article in a newspaper. American tourist found dead in Mexico. An American, identified as Paul Nelson, 53, was found dead from a botched amputation of both legs last Thursday, according to Mexican authorities. Dr. Conrad Corcoran has been arrested in connection with the operation and held on charges of manslaughter. His medical assistant, Araceli Delgado, is cooperating with the authorities.
Paul is dead? No!
George goes into a panic. Once he focuses himself, he starts to delete his browser history, starting with the body sculpting search. He excises everything up to ding, and an IM pops up on his screen. The following conversation takes place in IMs.
Hello? Is anyone there?
Hello, yes. Who is this?
My name is Cindy. I saw you on the site and thought I'd say hi.
George doesn't have time for this.
I'm a little busy right now, Cindy.
You have a minute. Don't be rude.
George takes a deep breath, settles himself. She's right.
Nice to meet you, Cindy.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Oh, I see.
That's it. This is stupid. Back to panic mode.
I'm kind of busy right now. Gotta go.
Really? What are you doing?
Gotta go.
Please stay and talk to me for a minute.
Are you the police?
No, silly man.
George flashes his anxiety.
Do you have a pick?
No.
George shakes his head.
Are you an amputee?
No.
Oh.
I don't think I ever will be.
What do you mean?
It's a long story.
Tell me.
I really don't want to talk about it.
Do you want to meet with me?
No, I don't think so.
I'm very pretty.
George looks around the room. Interior, bar, night. Cindy, 30s, is a knockout. George can't quite believe his eyes. He's never been this close to a 10 before.
That could have been you who died.
Can't get over it. Why did he leave when I told him?
Well, just be thankful you're still alive.
I knew that doctor was no good.
Well, you did the right thing, but...
But what?
Paul, he was so brave.
George hadn't considered that.
He gave his life for what he believed in.
I didn't.
Cindy looks at him. She cannot hide the imperceptible shake of her head back and forth.
So what are you going to do now?
I've changed my mind.
About?
You know,
About getting rid of your legs?
maybe that's not such a hot idea.
Oh, no. George, if that's what you want, you should have it.
George stares at her for the first time. She's intense. She slips off her chair and onto the floor next to him. She pulls his chair around and caresses his legs.
And Paul, oh my God, think of Paul.
Yeah.
He gave his life for what he believed in.
George swallows hard.
George, my God, if you had stumps, I would so love that.
Cindy imagines him with no legs, strokes his knees.
Would you use a wheelchair or would you get prosthetics? Both, maybe?
She smiles up at him. Interior, George's house, night. George is back on his computer late into the night. He goes over maps, Google Earth images, looking. His printer is churning out maps. He's at a site now for train schedules. Tables of numbers fill the screen. He hits print. Cell phone towers, coverage areas, enter. Large circles appear over maps. He pores over his maps and timetables with a pencil. Interior, medical supply store, day. In the aisles. George is shopping. He picks out a gallon jug of surgical antiseptic. In another aisle, he picks out 2 tourniquets. He goes back and gets another gallon of antiseptic. At the register, he hands the items to the cashier, who looks at him and smiles.
Will there be anything else?
No, thank you.
Should you get another tourniquet?
Should I?
You never know.
The exchange smiles. Exterior, George's house, afternoon. George wears a t-shirt, shorts, and tennis shoes. He puts the 2 gallons of antiseptic and tourniquets on the front seat of his car. He affixes a red flag to the car. His maps and schedules are in a neat folder next to him. Exterior, moving car, desert highway, various, day. George drives alone through the desert, approaching the middle of nowhere. The sun is low in the sky, making things look red. He drives. Exterior, small town, various, afternoon. George passes through a small desert town along the way. He cruises past the firehouse. The ambulance is parked in the bay, paramedics washing it. Exterior, moving car, desert highway, various afternoon. On the open road again. Outside, George's car shoots past a lizard with no tail, the car careening toward the blood-red sky. Inside, George slows the car. He has his close-up out now, looking. Insert mile marker 100. He stops, climbs out, and takes the 2 jugs and tourniquets and heads away from the road into the sandy waste. The mountains in the distance rest on their bellies like slumbering dinosaurs. The sun dips into magic hour, and the colors go into full saturation. Exterior, railroad tracks, magic. George arrives at a spot next to the tracks about 100 yards from his car. He sits down on the ground next to the tracks. The terrain is flat, endless. Nowhere lies off in every direction. The sun dips behind the mountains. Magic hour melts into twilight. The moon is already out and full and round as a blister on the sky. Next, he checks the train schedule against his watch. He scoots up and lays his legs across the rail, resting them on the tracks just below his knees. The tennis shoes and hairy calves already seem detached from him. He puts a tourniquet around each thigh just above his knees. He tests them just to be sure they are working. He has the backup tourniquet there just in case. He brings the 2-gallon jug of antiseptic up next to him. Twilight has drained away. The sky is dark and starry. He can see a train headlight in the distance. George produces his mobile phone and dials 3 numbers.
Yes, hello? There's been a terrible accident off Interstate 95 at mile marker 100.
He smiles as he listens to the dispatcher.
At the railroad tracks, about 100 yards from the road. I think someone got run over by the train. Look for a car with a red flag on it and go north to the tracks. Hurry!
Click. He tightens the tourniquets. He pours the fluid from the 2 jugs over his legs, 1 gallon on each. The train is closer now. He lies back and looks up at the stars, each one in its place. The train is closer. The wind carries a faint sound of an ambulance siren. The train is closer. He can hear it now. He looks down at his legs. A scorpion crawls up on his shin. George idly watches it satisfy its curiosity and leave. Train is 100 yards off, trundling heavily along at 50 miles an hour. The sound of the siren no longer needs the wind to carry it. George lays back. The train. The stars. The train. The train. Off George's contorted face, the deafening sound of the train towering over him mingles with his screams of pain, and it all morphs into a twinkle. The stars fall out of their places in a consumption of sparks. It all fades out to silence. Fade out. Exterior, poolside, day. Dan Decker is still doing the crossword.
So the next time you think your body doesn't look right, if you think you are to this, to that, remember this 13-letter word and take it from me. If you think you are, you are.
Fade out.